I guess I'm going to start off we did get quite off track, but
Yeah,
um,
because originally you invited me to have a discussion about abortion, then we got talking
yeah,
about politics all over the place, mainly the recent election.
yeah, and that's fine. I mean, my first debate got really off the rails at times, but that's the fun part about YouTube. Um, I'm surprised though, like that was like my longest video ever. And when it came to Owen's debates, that's like his second longest, and people were giving him shit about it because it was almost 4 hours, and it's like, they kind of had a point, but it's YouTube, and that's the best part about YouTube. But I guess I'll start off the discussion on abortion. My general stance is, if it's not my kid, then I don't have a say. I'm not pro-choice in the sense of let's promote abortion, but I'm pro-choice in the ability to choose what you do with your body. If you want to keep the child, then that's perfectly fine. If you don't want to keep the child, that's fine too. Um, and I'm also pro-choice to a certain extent. Like, I don't believe in people having abortions when they're like 8 months pregnant. I think that's just ridiculous. I think in some places it's 21 or 24 weeks maximum before the abortion would be against the law.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think there's a federal law here in the U.S. that restricts people, or even outright bans people from having abortion after 24 weeks after conception.
yeah, and um, there were some anti-abortion videos I saw, one by Hunter Avalone, and the way that it was animated to kind of demonstrate, and it didn't get all gory as to how the abortion would be done. I'm not entirely sure if it was
Look, we have a viewer.
truthful or if it was non-biased or something like that. I wonder who that viewer could be.
Oh, he just went away. It just went from 1 to 0.
Most of my live streams have no viewers, and that's cool because then if I'm making a live response, I don't have to like look at the chat. In fact, when I do live response videos, I don't think I can actually see the chat. Um, but anyhow, uh, the most viewers I've had on a live stream is like 5 or 6 anyway. But when it comes to the ability to choose, I don't know as to how like what the point if we were to ban abortion, like repeal it, which I don't know if that's even possible. What would be the point? Because at the end of the day, if we were to ban abortion, then it who's to say that we wouldn't go out and have in quotation marks back alley abortions?
Right. Um, I think that obviously, if you make something illegal, it is not going to go away entirely. It could be illegal for 10 years and there will still be that minority of people breaking the law. But I still, okay, I would have to actually research this, but I feel like that it would at least go down. Abortions would.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
That abortions like back alley ones would go down or something. Is that what you
No,
mean?
abortions in general would go down. I mean, obviously there would be back alley abortions. That back alley abortions, the back alley types of abortions would probably go up, but abortions as a whole in the country, I think, would go down if abortion was made illegal, like generally illegal. I mean, that's what I'm going to explain a little later.
I think it could, but a question I have is, do you believe that a life starts at conception?
Do I believe? Yes, I do. But
Um,
it's kind of a little, I guess, a little gray area. I mean, you cannot have a human life without the combination of a sperm and an egg. No person is just a sperm. No person is just an egg. And at conception, that is when you have like the merging of a sperm and an egg that creates its own DNA pattern different from uh, the mother or the father. But what I definitely think is that at 13 weeks, like I've researched this a little bit in the past, that around 13 weeks, that is when brainwaves can be detected with the child.
um, To be entirely honest, I did have a debate with a relative on Facebook about it, and that's the unfortunate thing is if you have an opinion on there, don't go on Facebook. If you have a Twitter, go there instead. But when it comes to the number of weeks, I would say uh, at the end of the day, I'm not entirely sure. Like when it comes to people who are pro-choice and then in the like pro-abortion, in the sense of I hate to actually say this, but it seems like they use like appeal to emotion sometimes.
What,
They'll
the
say
pro-choice crowd or pro-life crowd appeals to
uh,
emotion?
sometimes it's a bit of both, but I usually see this
I guess.
from sometimes from both sides, but usually when it's more apparent in the pro-choice crowd when it comes to it's just a woman's right. There's no debate about it, and if you're a man and you can't have an opinion on it, it's like, well, that's cool because when it comes to men's rights activism or anything that guys have movements about, then women shouldn't have an opinion on it, and then they wouldn't like that at all. And sometimes there's pro-lifers who bring emotion into it, but not as common as pro-choice people. But usually when I've talked to some pro-lifers and they bring up the Bible, one part I can't remember the where, but at one point it said that a child, its life when they were born and they took a breath of air as a person, and then another part said that it began at conception. I cannot remember where. If I can find it, I'll get back to you on that. But
Well,
it seemed a bit. If you were to use the Bible, like what it says to back up an argument, and if you were to use religion in that sense, then it'd be the Bible would show a bit of cognitive dissonance or a little a hypocrisy in that statement.
yeah, and that's what kind of bugs me about the more anti-theist left regarding abortion. It's as they always, if not most of the time, think that the pro-life crowd bases their logic only on religion. Like,
Yeah,
when I first got introduced to abortion, I saw the picture of one of Dr. George Tiller. Dr. George Tiller was he was the top abortionist here in Wichita, Kansas, the city that I live in, and he ran Southwinds Women's Center. I do not know if it was called Southwinds Women's Center back then, but it definitely is called that now. But it's the same building that he ran. And so anyway, the first picture that I saw was of one of Dr. George Tiller's victims. And the first thought that went through my head was not, oh my gosh, would Jesus Christ find that to be a sin? No, the first thought in my head was, who would do such a thing, want to kill a baby? Like, I was just thinking purely of the murder aspect of it.
yeah. And to be honest, I don't believe that all pro-lifers bring religion to it. There's atheist pro-lifers there, and from other religions as well. And then there's agnostic pro-lifers. So, and I think it'd be quite unfair to say, oh, that they get all their logic from God Himself. And then there's religious pro-choice people.
Yeah.
And to me that's fine. It's like, however, if I were to put myself in a woman's shoes, it's like I might think differently. I can understand why people would get an abortion in the sense of, I mean, like they should at least think about it. I think you at least should, if you there's other options like adoption, uh, and then things like that. When it comes to aborting the child, like that's of course permanent, and you can't take that back. And overall, when it comes down to it, I do believe there are some justifications to abortion in the sense of like rape or incest. I think it would be justified in that aspect. As for to spite, like if her only reason was I want to spite my husband, I don't
Oh
think that's a
yeah.
good. Like I don't care what any beta male feminist says. Like Owen, that's not a good reason.
Owen McDonald just sickened me with that line in his abortion video.
Absolutely, I was a little pissed off because it's like, you know, And another thing when it comes to abortion, it's like I think the only person that should pay for it is the woman. If it's her body and her choice, then she pays for it. And Hunter Avalon was saying, well, the baby isn't literally a part of your body, and I don't think that's what they mean by my body, my choice. I think they meant like it's what's in my body at the moment. I'm gonna decide whether it stays there until I deliver it or not. That's what I think they meant. I don't know. Maybe they think the baby is literally a part of them, but I don't know. Maybe that sounds a little delusional. But that line really did sicken me, where it's like he just says that, and I'm thinking, like I face palmed a little bit. But I don't blame you for not watching the entire thing. I mean, to be fair, it was 85 minutes of me responding to 30 minutes of his video, so I mean, I can kind of see
Yeah,
why.
you're also responding on multiple different videos in that long ass video, correct?
Yeah, it was abortion, feminist frequency, which I was surprised War Corps didn't respond to that one. I was
To
thinking
Owen
that
McDonald's abortion video?
no, the feminist frequency one. I was surprised he didn't respond to that one.
Well, the thing is that War Corps 666, he might not be as passionate about abortion as Owen McDonald, but he is at least more passionate for people to have the right, I use the word right loosely, the right to abortion, more passionate about it than even you, I would think.
Yeah,
So he wouldn't really bother making a response video to feminist frequency because he finds that he has that bit of common ground with feminists is my
yeah,
observation of Corpse.
yeah. And honestly, with Owen, he couldn't answer the question War Corps has posed to him, I've posed him, and anyone else is, what rights under the law do women not have that I have? Couldn't answer it. Now, when it comes to back to abortion, I would like to hear what your thoughts are when it comes to when the grounds are for rape and incest, and the reason they would abort the kid. Oh, and before you continue, I'm just going to mute myself so I don't feed back through the microphone.
Sorry, what was that last thing you said?
I'm going to mute my mic so it just so we don't have like a reverb effect.
Oh, right. Yeah, I'm not having that good a quality. Hearing your microphone. Like, okay, about rape and incest. That's what you asked. Well, first, I divide up abortion in kind of, well, actually, everyone divides up abortion into four different categories. There is rape, incest, life of mother, and the fourth one I like to call convenience abortion. Abortion in the name of convenience. Like, say, for example, the woman and man get drunk, and the woman gets pregnant, and she goes thinking to herself, oh man, a child is just inconvenient for me, so I'm going to kill it. Even though there was nothing really wrong committed before for the pregnancy to happen. There's nothing wrong committed, like in the case of rape. Just she thinks that the child is inconvenient. So I definitely think that abortion should be banned for all convenience cases. As far as rape and incest goes, even then, I still think it is wrong to abort and should not be allowed in the name of rape and incest, because it is not the child's fault. It is not the unborn child's fault that the woman got pregnant, that the woman got raped, excuse me, or even had sex with their own family member, and so therefore it is incest. Like abort if you abort the child because you were raped, you are punishing innocent party. The child did not do anything, yet she is getting punished with death.
I'm going to address it maybe in a bit of reverse order. When it comes to the whole incest thing, I think maybe a reason they say that is because when it comes to incest, the child I think is going to have some developmental problems, and sometimes it may be like very minor, and sometimes you might not even know that there may be a developmental problem, and then sometimes it might be very obvious, and the child might die or something. I think you'd have to have generations of this happening,
Okay.
and so I can kind of see though as to why they'd still do it, in the sense of they have a memory, they're gonna have a living reminder of um, what I'm trying to think of. They're gonna have a living reminder of what happened, and that's something they can't live with. Now, but I still think we should always encourage an alternative to abortion in the sense of
Right.
because there's adoption, and then you got abortion, and the third one I think is just to raise the kid. Two of those three options, I don't think it's a very easy option to do either of the two. When it comes to the third one, I think maybe it still isn't easy, but it's not nowhere near as bad in my opinion as the third one. Um, Now, when it comes to rape, I can especially see that as to why they don't want to have a living reminder of the child. But there are moms who say that they have been raped and they wanted to still give the kid life, and I applaud that. And when it comes to those who've been raped or their kids can be a product of incest, if they want to give the child life, that's fine. When it
Yeah,
comes to the
that's
whole convenience thing, I think it's just bullshit. It's like it takes two to tango to make the kid, and you just want to take responsibility for the kid, so you're just gonna abort it. Like if a kid is pregnant, I can especially see that because their bodies, especially a young girl, she's the only one who can get pregnant anyway. The thing is, I don't think is her body's even ready to have kids. Like girls in their teens, biologically speaking, yes, they can, but there's cases where teen girls their death rates are higher, have a higher risk of dying while giving birth. So I can
okay.
kind of
Yeah, I would understand the life of mother. Like most of us pro-lifers and anti-abortionists believe that that is definitely the one exception for in the case of abortion is the life of mother. Say they got, I cannot remember the medical terminology, but say they got the child got stuck in an area that not supposed to be, like not properly set in the womb, but they're set in a way so that there is
fallopian
the
tubes.
risk of life. What?
Fallopian tubes? Is that what you're thinking of?
Yeah, that might be the term right there. Fallopian tubes. The child gets stuck in the fallopian tube. There is still medical procedures to uh, prevent anyone from dying, and I would personally encourage that over an abortion. And I would, if I if I like heard of a case like that, I would personally donate to the woman having the surgery so that neither of them have to die. But if she feels like having the abortion, I could understand that a whole lot better than in the case of convenience rape or incest.
Yeah, and as a side note, I would actually like to see you and Owen debate abortion and a number of other topics. Just as a side note, I think that'd be interesting to see you two have a debate there.
Well, you contact that tea drinking sissy and tell him that I will kick him in his knickers.
There's
That's kind of cocky, obviously.
yeah. Now, the only thing I could agree with him is on about with Owen on when it comes to abortion is life of the mother, and I can empathize with victims of rape and incest. I can empathize because if I were to be
Right.
a victim, if I were physically capable of having giving birth to kids, and I were to have been raped or anything like that, then I can understand why you wouldn't want the living reminder. But if I couldn't have the abortion, I think an alternative I think we should suggest is when it comes to rape and incest is put the kid up for adoption. However, we do have way too many people on Earth. I believe 7 point, and I could be wrong, 4 or 5 billion people on Earth, or maybe even I'm not sure, but it's between the ballpark of 7.1 and 7.5 billion people. And I think we should have been trying to curtail the population when we were at like 4 billion. But and I think we should also encourage people when it comes to wanting to get pregnant in general is to adopt kids because we have a lot of unadopted kids, and especially those who can't have children of their own.
I'm pretty sure that everybody can empathize with a woman who was raped, because that is a terrible thing to have to go through, to have sex without consent. And nobody would disagree that adoption is probably the best case. I mean, if anything, at least put up the child for adoption, because I personally know a couple of people who were able to grow up to be, well, not successful adults, but well-off adults, might I say. Well-off adults that did not have parents. And the look to the look at the child as a reminder of the rape, that seems kind of like a cruel way to look at the child. I mean, there's this one woman named Rebecca Kesslingen, one of my employees over at Village Inn, who is actually not a liberal, at least not on the issue of abortion. Both Rebecca Kissling and the mentioned employee, they both had their mothers say to their faces, "I wish I would have aborted you." That, I might be
That probably
appealing.
would damage them.
Huh?
That I think would probably mess someone up for a long time.
Yeah, and I know I'm kind of appealing to emotion a bit by mentioning this up, but it seems kind of a cruel way to look at the child. But I think it should be looked at as an example of your own mercy for you to allow that child to have a life.
Yeah. And just as a side note as well, do you have headphones or earbuds?
I do. You want me to put them on?
Yeah, I think maybe that will help the reverb.
All right. Yeah, that probably will help with it.
Okay, and to be fair, maybe it was. I will say maybe it was just. It's not okay. Just to be fair, it sounded maybe a little cruel to say a living reminder of what happened. And maybe I think that also sounded a bit like appeal to emotion, but to be completely honest, even though it is somewhat true that when they'll look for some moms, they'll look at their kid and it'll be a constant reminder of what happened. But there is for some moms where they look at the child and they just see that that they've brought life into the world. And to be completely honest, when it comes down to people saying, and honestly, with pro-abortion, with pro-choice people, I think maybe there's a few double standards you could nail them on when it comes to some statements they use to justify it, like, "Oh, it's just a woman's choice. It's a woman's choice. You can't have kids. What do you know?" Maybe you could argue it's appeal to emotion. Just throw that out and not have any other defense of abortion. I personally, since I'm not going to bear children. I can't conceive a kid. I can get someone pregnant, but I can't physically, carry a child with me. I don't know if I were to be raped or something like that, or my life were to be threatened. I think I might think about abortion. And however, I would like to ask the question of what would be the point to ban it. I think I may have asked this earlier. I can't remember what you said, but what would be the point of banning abortion if people could just have back alley abortions, or they could, in quotation marks, accidentally like fall down the stairs or use a coat hanger, which honestly I think I'd be terrified of dying, because there's women who've died trying to abort the kid unsafely. And I guess I'm just thinking, in a naive sense, but I wouldn't want to die. I think that at some point it's like I'd be afraid of death, because even if I wanted to abort that kid, with every fiber of my being, is it worth dying over?
Well, if they're so desperate to want to, if they really that badly don't want to die, well, then probably they should just not try to do an unsafe abortion. And what I said earlier was that back alley abortions might not go away. Actually, they definitely won't, but I'm thinking that banning abortion would make abortions as a whole across our country go down.
Yeah.
And the way that I look at it is that we have murder illegal. Like, you can't kill Owen McDonald if he decided to take a vacation here in the United States, because there are laws against murder. And
Yeah.
the way that I look at abortion is that it is murder of innocent party. Now, if you want to talk about self-defense, that is a completely different issue, and that is why that I find, in the case of rape, to be unacceptable. Is you are just killing innocent party.
Yeah. And when it comes to killing Owen, it's like I wouldn't kill him because honestly, I just like watching him
No, 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 no.
perish.
That came
Anyway,
out wrong. Sorry.
what?
I said that came out. Sorry. That
Oh,
came out wrong. Sorry. Probably gonna get a bunch of shit. I mean, if Owen ever watches this. Whoa! You want S-Man Speaks to kill Owen? You son of a bitch, Zach! You.
um, I like his videos because he embarrasses himself. Yeah, he tells me in his live stream responses to me, he's like, "S man, you're embarrassing yourself with these videos," and I'm thinking,
You have a better
uh,
like to dislike ratio than that guy does.
our debate had like 4 likes to 23 dislikes, and his second debate with War Corpse that was on his channel, on Owen's channel, has like 33 dislikes and no likes, and I was laughing my ass off. Now, also I don't believe in killing people I don't agree with, but Owen thinks it's okay to
No, no, no,
punch
no, no.
opposing.
Hey, Owen and any of his fans, if any of you are watching, nobody is condoning that S-Man Speaks kills Owen. All right, just for the record, that was just an example earlier. Probably a
Yeah.
very dumb example to mention the case of murder.
Um, but honestly, when it comes to abortion, because I can't bear children, I don't have all that much of an opinion on it. When it comes to whether it's medically okay or not, that's where I'm not entirely sure. Um, now, just to wrap up on the whole line of life of the mother, if it saves the mom's life, then that's fine. If it's for convenience, it does nothing for you medically, so I don't see the need to do it for medical reasons. And people say, "Oh, it's selfish to not have a kid." I think it's selfish to have a kid, and the only reason you're doing it is to live through your kids, or like if a woman has a child just to get child support out of the dad. I think that's just being a terrible mother. On the part of
Yeah,
rape and incest, I think for maybe health reasons, maybe it might have a point, uh, like mental health of the mom or whatever. I think maybe it might make sense there. But overall, I think that's all really much my opinion on abortion is. If the reason is bullshit because convenience, then it's bullshit. But I don't know. I don't have the power to stop anyone from having it, and I guess when it comes to if I were to have it, I'm not sure where I'd stand then. But if I were to be in that position,
your microphone is kind of breaking up, by the way.
oh my bad. When it to wrap up my point on abortion is if it's for health reasons, then that's fine. If it's just for convenience, it's bullshit. But I don't know what we could do to stop it from happening. That's all I got to say, really.
Um, put it out of business because I don't think I think most women would not really have the guts to like try and perform it on themselves because it just sounds plain uncomfortable and painful trying to put something in your own vagina, you know. But if
I'd
you
be hurting myself if I was a woman and I'm trying to abort myself. I'd be afraid of like messing something up, and then you got to rush someone to the hospital because they're bleeding, and it isn't that time of the month. So yeah, they're going to be in a lot of pain.
yeah, but hey, you mind if I like? I was asking, you mind if I rewind this conversation a bit, like backtrack on an older subject? Like,
yeah, sure.
I do not know if we thought that the issue of abortion was kind of settled for right now, but I'm just wanting to ask you, like, when would you say is like the age after conception? Well, for viability, when is the time for viability, and that abortion should not be allowed for that child?
I'd say at least at maximum 24 weeks, because that's what the law says. That's what I would say I would go with. Now, if doctors were to say otherwise, then I'd go with what the doctors say. But I think the law and the doctors might agree. Um, but yeah, that would be my stance on it.
Okay. Well, I think that definitely that the restriction should be raised, like lower on the age, like 13 weeks, around 13 weeks when brainwaves start to be detected. Ultimately, I really want abortion to be gotten rid of and decriminalized altogether, but you know that you cannot have your way on everything.
Yeah.
Um, but I
Oh,
say that definitely in the case of convenience that it should be illegal. But if you were like raped or incest, 13 weeks. You have 13 weeks to make up your decision whether you want to keep or abort.
yeah. And if you wait any longer, then I guess the choice was made for you. One thing I noticed with Owen, he's pro-choice, like I guess pro-abortion, and he's against the death penalty, and it's like, so you're pro the ability to terminate the life of a child, but who's not even born yet. You're against the ability to execute someone who broke the law, took someone else's life, didn't give a damn about their victim. You're not okay with that, but you're okay with terminating the life of an unborn child who, to be completely honest, yeah, sure they didn't do anything wrong, so it's a bit odd. I wish I would have asked him that. But yeah, that's
Um,
all my thoughts on abortion. Go ahead.
yeah, you keep on referring to unborn children as well, unborn children, and so that makes me wonder, like, you really do pity the unborn children, the fact that under the law people have the ability to kill them. Is that what I'm reading properly here?
I can a little bit because it doesn't seem like an
Okay.
easy decision for anyone to make. Because I don't think, even for the moms who do choose to abort the kid, I don't think it's an easy choice for them to make any way about it.
And the only reason why you consider yourself pro-choice all in all is because they're inside, well, inside another person, and so that person falls into the circumstances as well, and because they have to do all the bearing, that that is what makes you kind of think they should have the choice.
That's correct.
Okay. Well, I'm I mean, if you want to consider your own body as private property or something like that, because I really do believe in private property rights, but I don't think a person's life in some circumstances under rules private property rights. I mean, if somebody like intentionally invaded your home and you do not know what they're doing, yes, your private property rights overrules their right to life, and you have the right to self-defend. Like I know somebody who had a home invader, and he did not know what that home invader was going to do. He thought he was going to rape his daughter and mother, and so he, without knowing the intentions of the home invader, just shot him dead. But the case with a born child, or with an unborn child, excuse me, is that the unborn child obviously is not responsible for invading, for lack of a better word, the mother's body.
Um, yeah, I can see where that analogy would be used.